everyone, Sher here with you. So today I am whipping up some cupcakes that I'm going to be taking to the dental office that I'm surprising tomorrow with some goodies. So I'm actually just about to make some icing, and I've had so many of my subscribers asking me for my recipe for my buttercream and asking me how I make it. So I thought, I'm doing this today, I may as well video it and take you along my journey here, and we'll go right from the start of doing the icing or the frosting, and I'll show you how I'm going to decorate these cupcakes. So here we go. So the recipe for my very simple, straightforward buttercream frosting is 4 cups of icing sugar, and I've sifted my 4 cups already in this big bowl, so that's all ready to go. I like to sift my icing sugar because quite often it's got these little hard little clumps of icing or whatever it is, I don't know, and it's just nice to get those out if there are any that, and sometimes they're big and clumpy and it's nice to just break up all the clumps. But anyway, so that's sifted. Then you're going to need some unsalted butter. You're going to need 1 cup of that. You're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla or any kind of flavoring. You could use any kind of flavoring you really like, but I'm just going to use just straightforward vanilla today. And that is all there is in the basic recipe. And then what you're going to use to thin it out with is 2 tablespoons of, now you can either use milk, you can use skim milk, you can use half and half, you could use cream. I am going to be using half and half today. And that 2 tablespoons isn't set in stone. It just kind of depends on what you're planning on using your frosting for. So I'm going to be piping these onto cupcakes today, so I can afford it to be a little bit on the thicker side. But if I was going to be icing an actual cake, I would want it to be a little bit thinner, obviously. So here we go. So I like to use my KitchenAid for this process because it's just so much easier than doing it by hand or with a handheld mixer. So I've already softened my butter. It's been sitting on the counter all morning, so it's up to room temperature, so it's nice and soft. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my 1 cup of butter in there. And I'm going to let this mix on kind of a medium to high speed for about 2 minutes. I want this to really whip, and it's going to get light in color, and it's just going to get nice and fluffy. And then I'll come back as soon as I've got that part done because it gets really noisy. So I'll be back in a few minutes. So my butter's nice and soft and light and fluffy. I've been mixing this for about a couple minutes anyways, at least. And so now I'm going to just start gradually adding my icing sugar. I just do a little bit at a time, otherwise it overpowers the machine if you put too much in at a time. And of course, you want to start out really slow because otherwise you'll have icing sugar all over the place. So luckily, my KitchenAid came with this little splatter guard thingy. It doesn't totally prevent the stuff from splattering all over or mixing all over, but it definitely helps with some of the dust. So I'm just going to keep incorporating small amounts of my icing sugar, and once I get all the 4 cups of icing sugar incorporated in here, I'll show you what the next step is. So all the icing sugar is now well incorporated, and it's very thick though. Once you start mixing all the icing sugar, and you're probably thinking, holy moly, it's really thick. But I like to do it this way. This is the way I was taught, and I don't put any of my liquids in until after I've gotten all my icing sugar incorporated. So the next step is to put a teaspoon of vanilla. This is a ½ teaspoon measure, but I'm going to just do 2 of these, so that'll give me 1 teaspoon. So then I'm going to mix that in really well. I said I was going to use half and half, but I don't have very much half and half, and my boyfriend would be really mad at me if I used up all his half and half and he had nothing for his coffee tomorrow morning. So I'm just going to use some skim milk because that's all I have. So I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon. I like to go just a little at a time because, like I said, it just sort of varies as to how much milk or liquid or whatever you're going to need because, again, depending on the situation. So I'm just going to add 1 tablespoon to start with. I'll get this going again. So I'm going to just check this. Oh yeah, it's still way too thick. So that was just after 1 tablespoon of milk. So I'm going to add a little more because that'll be way too thick to pipe out of a piping bag. So here's another tablespoon. Okay, now that is a perfect consistency now. So I'm going to tint this just a little bit. I don't want it to be overpowering, but I want to make it just a little bit pink. So I'm using this, it's from Wilton. It's a Christmas red. It's a kind of a gel food coloring. And I prefer to use this stuff because then it doesn't dilute your icing, for one. And a little of this goes a really long ways. So I just use a little toothpick. Just dip it in the little container here. And like, I don't want this to be overpowering. I just want just barely kind of pink. So I'm just going to start with that, and we'll see what color that gives us. So you'll have to scrape the sides down probably a couple of times, but this is just a perfect, nice, light pink color. So I don't think I'm going to add any more food coloring in here. I think that's, like I said, I just want it to be kind of subtle. So I'll just scrape this all down. There we go. So now we've got this really nice kind of pastel-y pink colored icing. So the next step is to load it into the pastry bag, and I have a little tip that I'm going to show you for that. So now I'm just going to fill up my pastry bag, but before I do that, this is the little pastry bag. I've had this one for a long time. This is the Wilton 16-inch Featherweight decorating bag. I've used this many times, but in the past what I did, because I didn't know this little tip, was I would go ahead and just fill it up with icing, put my little tip on there, and go along my merry way of icing my cupcakes. But then afterwards I'd have to wash all the icing out of here, dry it out. It was a real pain in the butt, especially if you wanted to do more than one color. You had to, clean and dry in between each color. It was just a pain in the butt. But then one day I stumbled upon this awesome little tip on Pinterest. So I'm going to show you that right now. And I've been using this little tip forever, and I use this all the time now. So what I've got here is I've just got some just regular old Glad cling wrap, saran wrap, whatever you want to call it. And I've got a fairly large, long piece here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of my frosting, and I'm going to literally just plop it right in the middle here. And I'm going to make kind of a long rectangle blob, just like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this just like a burrito and try to get some of the air bubbles out of it. And then you just roll it like this. And then you literally just give it a couple spins. So there's all your icing inside this little tube. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your piping bag and you're going to plop this right down inside. Pull out the other end that comes out the end and just pull your bag down. And then all you have to do is just take a pair of scissors. So I'm just going to cut this right here, my scissors. And I've got my little Wilton star tip and my little coupler. So I'm going to put that right inside the coupler and screw it right onto the bag. So now I am ready to ice my cupcakes. So what you'll do is you'll just kind of squeeze all the icing right down. And sometimes I like to have a plate or something, but I think we'll be okay here once I get this going. There we go. It's already started, so there we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just pipe some simple rosettes on all of my cupcakes here. So here we go. Probably could have been even a little bit thinner because it's really hard to pipe. I'm really having to push. But there is my first little rosette. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all iced up, and then I'll show you how I'm going to decorate them. So I'm all done decorating now. I did 2 different designs. So I did 6 of ones that look like this with my little X's and O's that I got from the Dollarama. For $1.25 I got this little package of these little sugar decorations. So I did 6 like that with some sprinkles. And then I did 6 like this. This is the little hearts, the caramel hearts that I got from Dollarama. You get, like, there was 9 in this little package for $2. So they're milk chocolate filled with a smooth caramel center, and I ate one. They are really yummy. And then I also put some chocolate shavings on here. I got this really cool little chocolate shaving thing. It's from Laura Secord. I got this for Christmas from my boyfriend's mom, actually. So it's 52% cocoa or whatever. So it's really good chocolate, and you just kind of, it's like a grinder, and so it just pushes the chocolate down and it grinds it as you turn it onto the cupcake. So you could use this for hot chocolate or whatever you wanted to put, you know, chocolate shavings on. So this is really cool. I kind of forgot I had it. I'm like, ooh, this would be perfect time to use it. So now I'm going to show you the cool container that I got to display all my cupcakes and to take with me tomorrow. I wanted to find something that I didn't care if I left behind, but I also wanted it to look nice as well. So this is what I came up with. So I came up with this cool idea that I would go check out Bulk Barn, because I had remembered when I've gone in there before that they had, oh, that place is amazing. If you've never heard of a Bulk Barn before, I don't know if it's just a Canadian thing, but here in Canada, quite a few of our towns all have this little Bulk Barn store. And what it is that they sell all bulk foods, but not only bulk foods, they also have an amazing display of, like, if you ever need a character pan, like if you're making a specialty cake of some sort, they have a whole wall just devoted to all these different characters of pans, cake pans, anything, you name it, they have it. They have piñatas, they have all these party supply things, and I remember that they had cake boxes and like cupcake boxes and things like that. So I figured, okay, that's where I want to go, because I just wanted to be able to bring my cupcakes and just leave the container there and not really care if I ever got it back again. So this is what I came up with. They sell these awesome boxes, cake boxes, in all different sizes, and of course they had pink right now before Valentine's Day. And then you buy the insert separate. So if you weren't making cupcakes and you just had like a square cake, then you would just get the box. But I got the insert for 12 cupcakes, which is perfect. And I love that it has a window. Some of them didn't. So I just love that this one does. And I got this for under $2. So I thought, you know, what a great way I'm going to be able to keep my cupcakes nice and clean and tidy and contained, and they're going to look really good. So I'm going to get them all put in the box here, and then I'll show you how it comes out. So there are my cupcakes, all in this fancy little box. How awesome. I love these little boxes. I will definitely be purchasing these again. I also got a smaller one that I'm going to be putting the biscuits that I'm going to be making tomorrow morning. I'm going to put those in there, and it's pink as well. I can't remember if it has a clear little window on the top or not, but it will match anyways, and they're going to look great. So, wow, what a great way to display, you know, even if you're not a professional cake decorator, which I'm not. It looks fancy because you got it in this fancy box. So how cool is that? Anyways, so there you have it, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial on how I make my icing, how I ice my cupcakes, and I hope you like that little tip that I gave you about the icing bag. So the last step of this whole process is the cleanup, and that's the part that I usually hate. But with this little icing tip that I gave you, I want to show you how easy the cleanup is. So all you do is just grab the end of your saran wrap little burrito here that we had to begin with, and you just simply pull it out. So you can squeeze the rest of your icing back into your container and use that for your next icing project. Pop this end off, and I'm going to show you how clean this bag is. I probably won't even have to do anything to it. No, there's not one little drop of icing in there. It is clean as a whistle. So I can just put this back in my drawer and it's ready to go for the next time. So hope you guys like that little tip. I know I love it. And it's amazing, especially if you have, like, if you have multiple colors, you can have all your colors all sitting on your counter, and then so you just pop one out, put the next one in, and away you go. You just keep going. It is an amazing, amazing little tip. So I hope you guys like that. So there you have it. There is my cupcakes for tomorrow all done. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next stage.